Hi, I'm Casey, and I don't know what I'm doing. This is going to be my January wrap up. I'm going to talk to you about the 5 books that I read in the month of January and maybe mention why I picked them up. I'm going to talk about these in the order that I read them. The first book that I finished this month was Moon Over the Crusted Snow by Wagesh Rice. This is a science fiction dystopian thriller set within a small Anishinaabe tribe. I really loved this book. I picked it up as an audiobook off of Libby. It was really haunting and atmospheric, very chilling, very beautiful. It had wonderful writing that made you really feel the snowy and cold atmosphere that they were living in. The tension building was excellent. I really enjoyed the small town community vibes in this one, albeit they are very different than the ones I have personally experienced. Evan was a fascinating character to read from the perspective of. Overall, I gave this book 4 stars. The next book that I finished this month was The Terror by Dan Simmons. This is a fictionalized retelling of the HMS Erebus and Terror in their final voyage trying to navigate the Northwest Passage. This was another really slow burn winter set story. I very much enjoyed this. I very much enjoyed the atmosphere and the characters. This being set around a real life tragedy and catastrophic loss of life, you knew going into it that it was going to be sad. I was very surprised that the author was able to nearly bring me to tears multiple times with many of the things that happened to the various characters in here. Overall, this was 4 stars for me. The only thing I would really change in here is the strange focus on the women's bodies that happens in a paragraph fairly early on into the book, and the very strange relationship that some of the men seem to have with the fact that Silence was a virgin. It was very uncomfortable to read about. Overall, a very worthwhile book and one I'm happy to have off of my shelf now. Hi, this is Casey from the future, literally just a few minutes after filming the video. I forgot to mention when talking about The Terror, which you can see right behind me on that stool, that Dan Simmons is occasionally a problematic author and has some rather conservative and egregious political views that I do not agree with at all. If you are interested in any of his works like The Terror or The Hyperion Cantos, Carrion Comfort, Summer of Night, any of it, I would highly encourage you to purchase the books used and to not give him any money. The next book I finished was On Girlhood, 15 stories from the well-read Black Girl Library. This was excellent. This was a 5-star read for me. I thought every short story in here was very well placed. They were all beautiful in their own way, shocking sometimes, really sad occasionally, and very happy at other times. I thought this one was just absolutely beautiful, and this is my first 5-star of the year. The next book I finished is How Literature Saved My Life by David Shields. This is my first 1-star of the year. I don't give out many 1-stars. This may be my only 1-star of the year. I'm going to do a full-length review of this book. Whenever it is up, I will link it somewhere in like the cards or the description somewhere. This one is written in collage style, which doesn't really work for me. Overall, I find it very confusing and very jarring for the most part. This also just had some passages in it that were really, I don't want to call them offensive, but they were quite off-putting and quite upsetting. The 5th and last book that I finished this month was Allswell by Mona Awad. Bunny is one of my favorite novels, and a lot of the things that I really enjoyed in Bunny carried over into this one as well. This was another 4-star read for me. I feel that Mona Awad is gifted at writing unreliable female narrators and making you really feel their pain emotionally and physically. I'm not very familiar with Shakespeare as a whole, and I found that a little intimidating coming into this book, but it does a very good job of familiarizing the reader with both Macbeth and Allswell that Ends Well, which are the 2 primary Shakespearean plays that are discussed and referenced in here. I've seen some criticism that the main character is extremely unlikable, and I found that to be quite endearing about the main character. I don't mind unlikable narrators or unlikable main characters. I find them to be very engaging a lot of the time, and this was no exception to that. Miranda was a fascinating character, and I really enjoyed reading about her journey throughout the story, and I enjoyed the speculative nature of what was happening to her, if it was in her head, if it was really happening, and the ending I really loved. I loved the the production of Allswell. I loved the production Miranda was putting on. I loved the very open-ended nature of it. This was a good time for me. This was a great 4-star read. Those are the 5 books that I read in January. Overall, a very good reading month. 3 4-stars, a 5-star, and a 1-star, I think is a great way to start off this year. Thank you so much for watching this. Bye. Sorry.